and call reconvene into open session at 5:30 exactly. No reportable action was taken in closed session. And at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Coleman.
Good evening, everyone. I have a couple of recognitions that I want to go through tonight before we do our Pledge of Allegiance. First of all, I want to do a moment of silence with everyone here. On behalf of the Merced Union High School District Board of Trustees, as we gather here today, we would like to honor and remember those within our school and community who have lost their lives in recent months. And tragically, this past week, we lost a very dear and valued employee. Let us take a moment of silence to reflect on their memories, celebrate their lives, and offer our deepest condolences to their families and loved ones. May we find strength in our unity and solace in our shared support during this time of loss. Thank you very much. Now it is September 11th, 9/11. I was on this campus in 2001. Today we would like to commemorate the events of September 11th, 2001 and extend our deepest gratitude to the first responders and the active military personnel who have exemplified extraordinary courage and selflessness. On this day of remembrance, we honor those who rushed into danger to save lives and those who have served tirelessly for years since to protect our freedoms and ensure our safety. Their unwavering commitment and bravery in the face of adversity are a testament to enduring strength of our nation. As we reflect on this profound impact of this day, let us renew our commitment to support and uplift those who serve and have served and strive to embody the spirit and resilience of the unity they inspire in all of us. This is a special note for Golden Valley High School. I want to take this moment to recognize Golden Valley High School as my three oldest sons, who all graduated from Golden Valley High School, have dedicated their careers to being a first responder and an active military. My oldest two, Drew and Brett, serve in the United States Navy, and Taylor is a detective at the city of Livingston. I always say thank you to them for their service. Thank you, everyone, for giving me that time. If we can now stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Coleman. Is there a motion for the approval of the agenda?
I'll make that motion for you.
I'll second.
Call for the vote. Leo, did you vote? Yes. He voted. Okay, that passes 5-0. At this time, I'd like to thank Mr. Richter for hosting us here at Golden Valley and have you introduce your students.
Thank you for the opportunity to host. We are going to showcase our ag department. It's been a while. In fact, I don't know, it's been a long time. So we're very proud of our ag department. We have a tradition of excellence with our ag department. We've grown quite a bit in the last few years, quite a few new staff. I'm going to let Miss Dompey come up because we have, not that I don't know the staff members' names, but we have quite a few new staff members. So I'm going to have her come up and introduce.
I'm Vicki Davis, Farmer Dompey. I changed my name a few times since I began teaching in this district in 1997. So I've been here at Golden Valley since we began in 2007. Our staff with us is Hannah Cole. Our, I'm going to call him a newbie, but he makes me feel better because he's been teaching for a while like I have, is Kelly Sanchez. Sitting down is our FFA advisor this year, Morgan Barrett. And we also have with us Corey Falashki. So we have a pretty new team. Our staff who couldn't be here is John Olson, Kevin McGill, and Brian Snyder. Thank you for having us. Our students have a great presentation for you, and you have a handout to kind of follow along.
I'm the chapter president.
My name is Lacey Spillman. I'm the chapter vice president. My name is Ava Briseño. I'm the chapter treasurer. Please use the mic, please, since we're streaming and they won't be able to.
Okay.
All right, so we are Golden Valley FFA, and I'm Grayson Dockstetter, the chapter president.
My name is Lacey Spillman. I'm the chapter vice president.
My name is Ava Briseño. I'm the chapter treasurer.
My name is Addie Joyner, and I am the chapter secretary.
My name is Annika Borges, and I'm the chapter reporter.
My name is Azan Figueroa, and I'm the chapter historian.
My name is Kaden Morris, and I'm the chapter parliamentarian.
Our FFA program is dedicated to cultivating the next generation of leaders in agriculture through a dynamic blend of classroom instruction, hands-on experience, and leadership development. By integrating rigorous academic learning with practical skills in agricultural sciences, leadership training, and supervised agricultural experiences. We empower students to achieve personal growth, develop professional competencies, and make meaningful contributions to their communities and the agricultural industry. We strive to inspire curiosity, foster responsibility, and prepare students for a lifetime of success in agriculture and beyond. Golden Valley FFA offers 7 pathways in which students can earn a CTE pathway completion certificate, as well as industry certifications and college credit. These pathways are Ag Mechanics Small Engines, Ag Mechanics Welding, Agribusiness, Agri-Science, Animal Science, Ornamental Horticulture, and Floral Design.
Our program is constantly revamping and expanding our programs to provide students with a higher rigor and industry-aligned education. Our recent updates include our turf grass management classes that provide students with opportunity to gain hands-on opportunity maintaining GV baseball fields and softball fields, as well as collaboration projects with West Coast Turf Company working on the Outwater fields. Certifications available through this program are Groundskeeper U and Ag Align. Our Farm to Fork program is a recipient of the K-12 Food Service, Hospitality, and Food Science Pathway Grant. Our allocation is $25,000 currently. We are working with district and site admin to create a lab facility located in IT4. Assessment of the facility is in progress to begin the process. Our agribusiness is currently dual enrolled at Merced College and is currently and Curriculum Council to add a new course titled Careers in Agriculture. Our newest addition to our staff is Mr. Kelly Sanchez in the welding shop. Our welding program is funded using both the CTIG and Perkins grant. Our welding shop hosts 12 sections in our welding pathway and serves over 450 students each day. Our power mechanics pathway is dual enrolled with Merced College and offers hands-on experience with tractor restoration, engine diagnostics, and engine and electrical rebuilds, and equipment operation. Our engine shop serves over 230 kids per day.
In our animal science pathway, students use animal care technology software for training and hands-on scenarios. This software is used to train and review clinicals with all local vet clinics. Our animal science instructor, Ms. Cole, is industry certified and provides real-world experience to her students. Certifications available to students in this pathway include beef quality assurance and youth quality care for animals. As shown in our presentation, Golden Valley FFA serves a wide variety of organizations in our community. Just last night, 25 of our FFA leaders set up, served, and cleaned up at the Merced Historical Society's annual dinner at Lake Yosemite. Other community service events include prep work, setup, and cleanup for the Merced Dignity Hospital Gala, our annual canned food and clothing drive, and several Farm to You days to promote agricultural literacy at several elementary schools in our district.
Golden Valley had 6 career development judging teams compete this last spring, including livestock judging, small engines, ag sales, dairy judging, nursery landscape, and veterinary science. We are proud to announce that our small engine team was undefeated this last season and was named the state champions.
During the 2023-2024 school year, our students spent a total of 4,031 hours between career development events and leadership development events. FFA LDEs are provided at different levels to target for each grade level and are designed to develop self-confidence, interpersonal skills, team bonding, problem solving, and communication skills. We had students attend at each level, including the exclusive Sacramento Leadership Experience that only accepts the top 75 seniors in the state. Students also had the opportunity to attend a question and answer panel with California State Secretary of Agriculture, Karen Ross.
Last spring, students from our chapter showed their supervised agricultural experience projects at the Chowchilla Madera County Fair, Los Banos Merced County Fair, California Youth Ag Expo, and the Merced Fair. Students placed in the top of their classes, including earning breed champions, reserve champions, and showmanship awards.
Every year, our students stay busy serving their community, polishing their leadership skills, gaining hands-on experience through their SAE projects, and their classroom and lab experiences. This past year, our students spent 4,031 hours in career and leadership development events, 18,057 career hours in FFA-sponsored events in total. Our students profited $658,420 from their supervised agriculture experiences, and when you combine our students' volunteer hours with their economic value, their economic impact comes out to $559,538. We'd like to thank our community for supporting us and providing the opportunities to make this possible. Thank you for your continued support of our program. If you'd like to stay up to date on our activities, you can find us on Instagram at GVFFA or on Facebook as Golden Valley FFA.
Thank you very much. It's great to hear from you guys, and congratulations on all of your success, and thank you for all of the hours that you volunteer. You do make a difference in our community, and we appreciate it. Mr. Richter, would you give us a school report, please?
First of all, this is my, I think, 9th year at GV. I've seen a lot of ag groups come through, and every year I think it's not going to get better than this, and they do. They are just as good, if not better, than every year, and that's a testament, I think, to the culture in our ag program and our teachers. So thank you, Mrs. Dompey and staff. So I'm going to briefly highlight some of the things we're doing with instruction. As you're probably aware, there are some indicators on our dashboard that we are deficient in as a district and as a site. So the first category is students with disabilities. It is a district goal this year to increase the co-teaching in the classroom between a special ed teacher and a gen ed teacher. So we're fully supportive of that. We already have some great teams going. And one thing that we've been able to do is establish a common prep for most of them. That means they can get an opportunity every day to collaborate, which is huge. Everybody's busy. They might be involved with other activities, but to be able to give them a common prep, which was a priority, is a good achievement. Thank you, Ms. Haygood Floriano. We are sure to involve special ed teachers with general ed teachers. It can't be just special ed trainings and general ed teacher trainings. We're here for all the students. Special ed students should be exposed and involved in general ed curriculum, so we are very mindful of that. We also are making an intentional effort to make sure we involve our paraprofessionals in trainings. A lot of times paraprofessionals are told, just go help the kids, just go help, but they're not given a lot of direction. So one of the things, we're very proud of our grad profile here at school. We're going to make sure we involve our paraprofessionals in grad profile training so they can provide better support to our students. As far as EL students, this year we're really going to use our LPAC interim assessments. So we're taking, instead of waiting to the end of the year to look at data, we're going to look at them periodically, but so we can make immediate improvements in the classroom, whether it's immediate within the classroom or with professional development for our staff. With regards to EL proficiency, we want to reclassify students when appropriate and when ready, and we're using multiple measures for this, not just waiting for one type of assessment. And our staff is trained annually. We're having one later this month, and then we'll have prep period professional development provided by our EL teacher, Mr. Barajas, and then we'll have a winter follow-up. So again, it's very intentional what we're trying to do, and it's not just a one and done. Just do one time, and hopefully you guys get it. We're doing follow-up and support. As far as math, it's a site deficiency. We are using multiple measures to place students in grades 10 through 12. We're very, very thankful that we have better collaboration with Merced City School District. So when we get their data, we can place our kids appropriately right away instead of making our best guess with the data that we have available, and then school starts and then we have to make changes. So we're trying to get them in the correct classes immediately, and it's been much better this year. So it gives us more flexibility on the master schedule. Students aren't locked into a certain period. Carrie's done a great job with providing that flexibility. If we do find out students need to move classes, it can be very a simple switch to move one period, but it can be very complex to move a student schedule. So the master schedule has been set up to allow flexibility. And then we're participating with district level trainings and also with MCOE as well. Our instructional leadership team has been revamped this year. This is teachers basically teaching teachers instead of relying on 5 administrators or a teacher librarian, which she is very, very heavily involved, an instructional coach. So their trainings that they are providing are based on the superintendent's goals and our indicators that are read, and any site goals we might have. Again, it's very intentional and very specific. We can't expect teachers to be the best teachers they can without providing support. And again, we need to be very intentional about what we're doing with that. We have started an MTSS team on our campus this year. It's new to GV. One of the big things is we need to have a better awareness on our campus. What is MTSS, multi-tier systems of support, but also what do we already do on our campus already? We do a lot of things already. We need to organize that, make people aware of it, and then we need to find where are our gaps. Where do we need to provide better support for students, whether it's in academics, behavior, or social emotional learning. So that is a major goal for our campus this year, and we have an MTSS committee. We're going to provide professional development again. We had a staff meeting on social emotional learning today, the importance of it, and our use of the Character Strong platform to accomplish that. That was a very brief synopsis of what we're doing. Are there any questions I can answer?
Thank you, Mr. Richter.
You're welcome.
At this time, we'll move on to the general public comment period. The meeting is recorded. Individuals addressing the board are asked to fill out a speaker card located in the back of the room. Complete a blue card to speak to an item not on the agenda and a yellow card to speak to an item on the agenda. Please return the card to the administrative secretary of the governing board. Individuals addressing the board shall be limited to 3 minutes each with no more than 20 minutes per topic. During this portion of the agenda, the public is invited to comment on items which are not on the agenda but are within the subject matter jurisdiction of the Board of Trustees. The board will take no action at this time, but may refer the issue for further consideration. Individuals who wish to comment on this item may refer to the issue for further consideration. Individuals who wish to comment on agenda items shall be provided an opportunity to comment after the staff report and before the board's consideration of that item. Individuals who cannot wait to address the board when the agenda item is addressed may make their comments at this time. So at this time, I'd like to call Mr. Brad Haven.
Superintendent Peterson, President Ham, all the board members, administration, thank you for your time. My name is Brad Haven. I'm a school bus driver with the district. Last year, I brought attention to the need for higher pay for the transportation department and worked towards having the school bus drivers reclassified. I fully engaged in the reclassification process, but was disappointed to see us move only from a J to a K, just one step. We met with Superintendent Peterson, and he did show empathy to our concern. In June, you, the board, passed a resolution giving Superintendent Peterson the authority to make changes with transportation. So far, we've heard no news. Driving a school bus is physically demanding and often a stressful job. The licensing requirements are rigorous and must be constantly maintained. Just this week, several of our drivers were they were required to undergo a random drug test, something that no other district employee is subject to, but we are. We provide and use our own personal computers as all communication for route and trips are digitally done. To attract qualified, capable individuals, the pay for transportation employees must be increased. Are we short drivers now? Yes. I respectfully request that you reclassify the bus drivers, mechanics, and office workers. The whole department needs a touch. The bottom line is that our department must attract capable employees who can meet the demanding testing and licensing standards that are required for the job. Another solution would be for sub drivers. We have 3 right now, I believe, sub drivers that fill in. They're paid at a very minimum pay. They're not paid according to their experience. They should be given credit for the years of experience they have, no matter what district they came from. This would be still an incredible savings to the district by not using charter companies. Charter companies are the most expensive to have to use. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Haven. Mr. Shaljean.
We're on. I'm going to be short and kind of sweet this week. You heard from me last week. I want you to know when I'm speaking here, there are a bunch of people behind me that share the same sentiments, so just know this is coming from a group. All right, good evening, President Ham, members of the board, Superintendent Peterson, and Cabinet. I'm back this evening with many of my colleagues to speak to the board regarding Mr. Robert Nunes. While the decision that the board made and Mr. Peterson reached was not exactly what many of us at Buhack Colony wanted, we are grateful that you made the decision to allow him to remain with us at Buhack Colony. We all recognize and saw the media storm that occurred, and it took courage and resolve from each and every one of you to not allow that frenzy to rule the day. You took your time, you looked at the situation, you listened to those of us on the ground at Buhack, and you made a decision that allows Mr. Nunes to remain and grow with us as a staff. We thank you for that. Moving forward, the staff of Buhack Colony wants nothing more than to continue in the positive direction that we began the school year with. We look forward to working with Mr. Torrin Johnson as our interim principal for this school year, in addition to the rest of the leadership team at Buhack. As a staff, we are ready and eager to move past this and get down to working hard at educating our students. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Shaljean, and everyone else who came and in support. That speaks volumes. We appreciate you. Miss Macy Drum.
Is it on? Yeah. My name is Macy Drum. I am sharing a small snippet of my experience that I shared with the superintendent last week in full. Board members have a copy of the letter, and I encourage you to read it thoroughly. I transferred to Buhack from Stone Ridge my sophomore year to play water polo. I was mostly naive to the fact that the water polo coach was verbally and mentally abusive. Towards the end of the season, I began to realize that his screaming and not actually coaching players was not constructive. There were multiple instances that are given in detail in my letter. My junior year at Buhack, things changed. His daughter was a senior, and it was her year to break records and receive accolades. The only thing standing in her way was me. When approached with situations that coach didn't like, he oftentimes became a narcissist and tried to put me down. This is also pointed out many times in my letter. He played daddy ball with his daughter that year. He belittled me nonstop. It continued to escalate and attempt to crush my spirit. In the middle of the season, my parents noticed my anxiety and helplessness. I was shutting down at home, losing friends at school, and eating lunch in my car. I was used for my talents when it helped coach succeed, and taken out for my talent when it jeopardized the accolades of his daughter. When questioned, coach intimidated me and belittled me. My family decided to talk to admin at Buhack about it. They met with the principal a final time, and they asked her, they questioned her, and her response was, I will talk to him after season. I don't want to jeopardize the good thing Buhack has going for them. We finished the year with the most successful season in school history, thanks in part to me staying. But if you look at the stats or watch film, it's apparent who is most successful in the hard games that matter. There's proof on the stats sheets provided. My parents and I knew that for my mental health that staying at Buhack was not good for me. High school should be the best years of a teenager's life, and I had purposely forgotten those 2 years at Buhack. The belittling, intimidating, and discrimination I, along with others on the team, faced was something I wanted no part of. Merced High and Buhack agreed to my transfer second semester of my junior year. I was stunned to hear coach was named AD a short while later, and we filed a formal complaint. MUHSD hired what we were told was a neutral party in the investigation. Within a short notice, I sat alone in a 3-hour interview because my parents couldn't take off work. He then interviewed my parents. We received the final findings a few weeks later, and we were surprised to see that any documentation and witnesses we were told he used were never used. I wouldn't call that a fair investigation. We began the CIF appeal process this summer. We based it off of individual safety concerns. I knew that there was a possibility I wouldn't be able to play my senior year. Buhack denied my request to play. Appeals have to cross the AD's desk, who was my previous coach and was signed by the formal principal. If this was an amicable transfer and my coach was supportive of me like he said he was, why did they deny it? The day I was told of the denial from Merced's AD was the same day of the rally incident at Buhack involving the principal and the AD. How am I supposed to process the fact that the AD was allowed to stay on campus when it's clearly him in the video with the principal who was put on admin leave? The two that crushed my dreams of having one season to play high school polo, where I'm not mistreated and were able to write me off and not let me play. I need someone to make it make sense to me. Why am I being punished for the actions of an adult coach who signs a contract to uphold professional standards both on the coaching and teaching side? Where is the protection for students? I am thankful for my parents.
Macy, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Your time is up.
Thank you.
Becky Drum.
I'm going to finish her letter because I think it's important to hear. And then I'll read mine. I am thankful for my parents for standing up for me and teaching me right from wrong, for fighting this cause for me, as I'm sure many students don't have that support. I have been in a lot of uncomfortable situations, but I am learning that I am not just another piece of paper crossing the district's desk. I am a 4.2 GPA student athlete with no record of problems that deserves for their voice to be heard. I have learned many lessons from my experience at MUHAC and learned that change is sometimes best for one's own good. Please read my story, read the letters of support, look over the stats to make an honest decision of who to be supporting. I am not the only one who has been a victim of his actions. My letter. A mother's love is everything. It is what brings a child into this world. It is what molds their entire being. When a mother sees her child in danger, she is literally capable of anything. Mothers have lifted cars off their children and destroyed entire dynasties. A mother's love is the strongest energy known to man. Jamie McGuire. My daughter Macy is one of the strongest, most capable teenagers I know. Maybe because I am biased, but more importantly, it's because I've watched her be torn to shreds and then watched as she has slowly put herself back together. In the MUHSD policy for professional standards for employees, it states in BP 4119.21, number 2, inappropriate conduct includes but is not limited to engaging in harassing or discriminatory behavior towards students, parents, guardians, staff, or community members, or failing or refusing to intervene when an act of discrimination, harassment, intimidation, or bullying against a student is observed. It also goes on to state, number 6, using profane, obscene, or abusive language against students, parents, guardians, staff, or community members. And number 9 states, dishonesty with students, parents, guardians, staff, or members of the public, including but not limited to falsification of information in employment records or other school records. MUHSD failed to safeguard my daughter in a case where she was mentally abused and discriminated against. The water polo coach at BUHAC mistreated and manipulated my daughter to work for his own good at the expense of my daughter's well-being, and then quieted her talent when it was compromised his or his daughter's. There are multiple instances and documentation of his failure to uphold the standards that are outlined in the policy from MUHSD. When a formal complaint was filed, the school failed to use any witnesses or paper documentation that we had to prove our side of the case. As a parent, it is my job to advocate for my daughter, to teach her to stand up for herself when there is abuse and discrimination, and to pick her back up when she feels helpless. I urge all board members to read her story, to not let her be another case that has come and gone, and to stand up for the students who are speaking out against such misbehavior. We are all trying to process the fact that the school district continues to promote and stand up for an employee that cannot live up to their code of conduct, while instead of writing off on investigations and appeals that are one-sided against an exceptional student that has a future at Indiana University, where she is committed to play water polo and maintains a 4.2 GPA. Where is her voice?
Thank you. Eddie Drum.
Good evening. My name's Eddie Drum, the dad of Macy Drum. As parents, Becky and I are committed to protecting our daughters and ensuring their well-being in an often unfair world. We understand that life requires navigating difficult situations and making informed decisions that safeguard our future. When our child faces discrimination, bullying, or intimidation, it is our duty to support them and help them through these challenges. Our daughter Macy, a 17-year-old, has unfortunately experienced significant adversity, including intimidation and manipulation, from a staff member and former water polo coach at BCHS, who is now the athletic director. The situation impacted her mental health, leading to severe anxiety and physical symptoms. We observed troubling changes in her behavior, such as social withdrawal, outbursts, anxiety, and eating issues, which were direct results of the negative environment at BUHAC. I'd also like to mention the AD was recently involved in the viral rally video where the principal was placed on admin leave. Macy's decision to transfer from BUHAC to Merced was a necessary step for her mental health. As parents, our role is to support her in making the right choices, even when it means challenging the status quo. It is inconceivable that Macy, who stood up against wrongdoing, is now facing repercussions while the staff member responsible for the misconduct received a promotion. How do we explain to our child the discrepancy between her courageous actions and the lack of accountability for those who violated your own policies? Macy is a dedicated student and athlete, recently earning a spot on the USA 18 and under national water polo team and maintaining a 4.2 GPA. Her leadership and resilience are evident in her achievements and respectful conduct. It is disheartening that she now faces the additional setback of ineligibility to play water polo, a situation worsened by what we believe to be a flawed and biased investigation process. We question the impartiality of the independent investigation and the district's handling of this matter. A thorough and unbiased investigation should include all relevant statements and evidence, which was not the case here. The perception that the investigation was one-sided raises concerns about transparency and accountability. The notion was further reinforced by the previous Buhat Colony High School principal's dismissive attitude towards addressing the coach's misconduct. We urge the board to review Macy's case with empathy and fairness. If this were your child, would you be satisfied with the outcome of the investigation and the decision made? Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, we'll move into the reports. So, no, I'm sorry, we have 2 more speaker cards. Ines Morrison.
I am school bus driver Ennis Morrison. I've been with the district 2 years. Merced Union High School District Board of Trustees, Aaron Ham, President, Cabinet members, Superintendent Alan Peterson, and California School Employees Association Chapter 252 leaders. Thank you for upgrading school bus driving's classification from J to K this past May. During this year's kickoff, it was gratifying and encouraging to see 3 slides of the Transportation Department in the show and to hear school bus drivers mentioned specifically during the introductory monologue. However, Resolution 1123 from June of this year gave us reason to believe that school bus drivers and the other 7 positions within the Transportation Department would be considered for further classification adjustments. Whatever the status of any such negotiations, all of us in the Transportation Department would be grateful for an update. I would like to reiterate that school bus drivers are essential to assuring students get to school and back home safely. We also enable extra activities which keep students engaged and motivated to stay in school. Sports teams, virtually all the sports teams, myriad sports teams, clubs, organizations, and special events. A multitude of clubs, organizations, and special events. FFA, go band. Did someone say bowling? Thank you for your attention to our concerns.
Thank you, Mr. Morrison. Pinky Parikh.
So my name is Pinky Parikh. I am a new owner of Mathnasium of Merced. So I'm just kind of here to promote the business and kind of make the board members and the schools aware of this new business. It's a new business with math learning as a focused. So basically the business is a small group instructions. We do free assessment for a student, and then from there we create a learning plan for a child specific to their own needs. So every child is learning differently, and so we try to build up the gap that has been between what they know now and that they are missing in the learning plan. It is a paid subscription, so basically it's like going to gymnasium but coming to Mathnasium to learn math. And I'm here to just mention that the business is now open. It's going to be located on 550 West Olive Avenue, and then instruction hours are from a trained instructors which we hire and train to the right instructions, and meeting the needs from the child from grade kindergarten through grade 12. We also have an SAT prep courses and ACT prep courses, which are very individualized to the need of the child. The student will also get one-to-one instruction on the missing piece of the whatever math learning that they need. And then also I would want to mention that we are going to be the grand opening first week of October. And I like to invite all of you to try to come and see what we have to offer and then help us, the business grow. I also have brochures that I like to pass to the board members, and then if, with the help of the board members, we pass to all the principals of the school district. That would be very helpful. If you have any questions, the numbers are on the phone. We are also on Facebook and Instagram, so reach out, and the assessments are all free. So come to get the assessment done for whoever needs the assessment, and hopefully everyone will enroll. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Parikh. Okay, at this time, we will move on to the reports and discussion period, and we'll start with Mrs. Jeanette McCauley.
Leslie, if you'd like to stop the clock.
No, please keep it going. Got 3 minutes. 10 seconds, even better. Okay, I just want to make sure it works. And it does. Thank you, Miguel, Mike. Good evening, Board President, Board Cabinet. Jeanette McCauley, Program Administrator with CT Grants. And this evening, I have the chance to talk about one of our grant programs, our K-12 Strong Work Program. And again, CT is Career Technical Education, a sequence of courses for a program of study that we have in our high schools to help kids, to help our students get ready for post-secondary and their future, to make sure they have a chance for a living wage. We'll get it. All right, this is the exciting part. We have over 35 pathways in our district. There's 15 in the industry sectors in the state of California, and we have 14 of those represented here in Merced Union High School District. So this is just in our sites. We have 117 different CT courses with 133 CT teachers, all credentialed, qualified, teaching over 665 sections of CTE. That's just this year. So it's pretty amazing how we continue to grow. We have 12 CT pathways that have that post-secondary dual enrollment opportunity. This last year, we had over 2,000 seniors who graduated with a pathway completion. That means they took their concentration and capstone class in the same pathway. We have industry certs, and I'll tie that in here shortly. And then we have done a great job making sure that majority of our classes meet A through G. A lot of times it's just our newer capstone classes, do I get to be done? That are basically still on that progress, working to make sure we get those A through G. So let's talk a little bit about the K-12 Strong Workforce Program. It's fantastic. It came through, of course, the state of California, and it's ran through the California community colleges. And of course, their goal more than ever is kind of K-14 alignment and making sure that we are providing opportunities not only in the high school, but could also go lower, middle school, elementary, to help our students be college and career ready. Help them know and develop skills that they need for their future. And so the state of California has pushed and provided this opportunity, which we have taken advantage with at Merced Union High School District. They have some goals and objectives that when these grants are written and we move forward with these grants, that we follow suit. And I really appreciate Golden Valley kind of helping write my script today with FFA students, because most of everything they said is almost everything right here on this slide. They're talking about their dual enrollment opportunities and their pathways. They're talking about industry certs. You heard them talk about work-based learning. They calculated their hours. They calculated their funds. That is happening at all our sites, and not only in FFA, in all our programs. And that's what's pretty exciting. But again, with this grant, we have to have a partnership with a community college, and ours is Merced College. So before we're able to move forward with even the grant writing, we have to have the approval with Merced College to partner with us in this grant. And their partnership is mainly that top thing, to help increase alignment and collaboration to strengthen not only our pathways, but our pathway to them, four-year colleges, and industry partners. And then again, it's all a community. When we look at our CTE, we are talking about industry partners. We are talking about what we have in our community, our local labor market force. and helping know what we need in our sites. And again, helping our students know what's available to them throughout their 4 years. We want to make sure they're ready for a high wage, high growth job. And so that's why we are providing the skills, the certifications, opportunities to help them see what's available as they move past Merced Union High School District. And also something they talked about is, of course, professional development. Our teachers, Mr. Richter brought that up. We need to make sure we are providing our staff, from our instructors to our counselors to our administrators, with the right skills to help lead our teachers, our programs to that next level always. All right, so here it is. We have started applying when Dr. Aguilar, when Costa was here before me, and they applied for round 2 and also round 3. And we could apply every year for this grant, but they're 30-month grants, so they overlap. So it's only been about 50 months, over a little over 4 years, that we've had the opportunity to apply from round 2 to 6. And so the first one was our diesel group, and I'll go into each of these in a little more detail. Then our health workforce, then our OH, then our public services, and now our culinary and our food science or farm to fork. And so again, some have finished. So we just closed up in June our OH one, but we still currently have our public service and our culinary. And then there is an opportunity for round 7 coming here shortly. So let's start with round 2. And so this is our diesel, but it's not only our diesel, they also included our ag mechanics and our advanced small engine. And then they also now have a capstone diesel engine class in the small engine pathway. And that's what actually the ag students were talking about earlier, and the opportunities. And so as we proceeded through those grants, making sure that we were meeting the objective with making sure all our classes were A through G, that we are developing the curriculum with Merced College, providing professional development for our instructors, and again, getting these kids hands-on skills and ready to go. And so we had some nice big purchases with this opportunity. And here's a couple more pictures. This is one where I wish we could take you to the sites, because pictures does not do it justice of everything that we have developed in our schools for our CT pathways. And Golden Valley here does have this pathway all the way through, and they did participate in this grant. So again, this one was mainly on Atwater. Every site had a chance to participate, but it was kind of new. And so Atwater participated, Golden Valley, and El Capitan. And again, this is how we say, they get a volunteer and commit to the grant because there is outside work. Next was our health. And it was the same time that we were developing the healthcare pathway. It was the same time that we were bringing teachers straight from industry into our classrooms. And so this grant, so throughout these grants, we also meet at least quarterly. We meet with the college at least a semester. We have industry partner meetings. And as we continue with these grants, we keep developing our next steps and our objectives and our goals. And so with the health one, they were meeting every month because we had brand new people from industry setting up brand new classrooms that we wanted to finally get to. If you guys get to anyone's classrooms, simulated hospital rooms, simulated doctor's offices. And we're continuing to progress that. But this all started with this grant, and it's pretty powerful with what our teachers have done with this grant and what they have established for the work-based learning and our partnership, of course. And so even started 2 years ago, we already had our students graduating right after the senior summer with their CNA certificate. So again, that was all built through this grant process of collaboration. It's really that collaboration what holds this grant together, what holds these pathways to be more successful when they have the opportunity to go through this grant. This last one finished up is our OH grant. And so the students here talked about the turf grass management, and they talked about their certs and what they get to do. So that's going to a sub-pathway. So in our OH, we have floral, we have horticulture, and we also have now turf grass. This is all new that's coming the last couple of years because we keep expanding. We're finding out what the students want. And then we have the opportunity to expand our equipment to make it industry aligned, which kids then have more hands-on experience and get more interested and have those opportunities. Also with the OH grant, if you guys make it to the LCAP gym, you'll walk by the brand new greenhouse that they have there. Atwater Floral Van, we honestly, almost every site that has a greenhouse has had it updated or getting updated with this grant. We had 4 floral fridges put in throughout the district, shade cloth at BUHAC. And so again, we're looking at big purchases that we're able to do with this grant. And a big thank you to Melissa Miller, who goes after me on getting these projects done in a timely manner. And a big one for the next 2 I'll kind of get to when we get to 6. Round 5 is our public service. Public service, we started, we're excited, we know our partnership, we know how important it is, and we only started at Livingston and LCAP. And at least LCAP began with a teacher this last year, We finally have a new part-time teacher at BUHAC and Atwater part-time. And so this has been a kind of a slower progressive grant, but again, we still have the same amount of students, sometimes declining amount of students, but we can't keep opening pathways if we don't have, the students to fulfill it. So again, our public safety is hoping to continue to expand, but we have done such a great job with everything that we are doing. Again, teachers are coming from industry. All 3 of our public service and teachers are straight from industry. And again, that hands-on, their connections are one of the most important things as we continue to move forward. So you should have done the 3 minutes. Okay, last one, I promise. This is our latest one, just started in January. And one of the things is cross-curricular, cross-sector, and Merced College is going to be building their food processing. And if you ever hear Brian Tassi talk or anyone, they talk about how they're bringing in nutrition, they're bringing in their animal science, they're bringing in their plant science, and it's all kind of coming together. And so with this grant, we brought in 2 different industry sectors. We have our hospitality and our agriculture sector, because again, we are trying to model what Merced College is doing and partner with them. And so again, when we begin our collaborations, which we already have started, it is a cross collaboration that we're having here to make sure we're preparing our staff for our students when they go into the field. But this is something that got done this summer. And again, huge to Melissa Miller behind me on this project, because we just got the grant, and so we had to roll this out and get it done. If you guys have ever been in the Merced High School kitchen, and Golden Valley is just wrapping up, so that's why Golden Valley is not as completed when I took these pictures a couple weeks ago. But Merced has students already started in this week, and so we were able to get, it's not just the equipment, it was electrical, it's the plumbing, it's the walls, it's, we could keep going at Merced High School's culinary room. And anyways, and what a fantastic job to get us industry standard. And one of the big things is the bottom picture on the left is the 3-compartment sink, and it might have been in the previous picture, like that's what aligns them for food safety and the county health. So making sure our classrooms are up to standard. Whew, okay, a lot longer than 3 minutes, but any questions?
Thank you.
No problem. A couple schools are looking at possibly like cosmetology, because we have a lot of students who do leave our high schools and possibly go straight into, a barber, or even now all the makeup and eyebrows. And so that is one conversation that's occurring. Sometimes it's not necessarily expanding pathways, but incorporating what we have already in our pathway. For example, our healthcare patient pathway. Mm-hmm. We also now have sports medicine. We also now are getting a medical assistant, and we still have a kind of our CNA medical nursing track. So sometimes it's expanding our pathways and kind of building in those sub-pathways within. So again, there's only so many students and so many classrooms we have. So sometimes we have to always be considerate of who's our staff already, and then where do we have room for growth. But when you're asking us, really still looking at our labor market, and health is very important. One thing I did not hit on, and I had in my notes, is of course growing our own. And so really then taking our child development and our education pathways and seeing what can we do within these pathways to make sure we are then growing our own. But again, it's really looking at labor market data and student interest, and then of course looking at our staff that we already have to make sure we're filling those positions before we continue to expand.
Thank you.
No problem.
What do you have or looking into in any type of technology or computer science or maybe even AI?
Fantastic. I'm going to start with one, then I'll keep going. AI could go across all of them. And so even when we are talking about some of our agriculture, and they're looking into like drones and looking into like when you're talking about crop science and plant science. And so some of our ag teachers are already moving that way, incorporating what can we use with technology. And even when that all comes together, AI is all involved to make sure that we're able to help our students move forward to the industry that they're ready. We already have our info communication technology pathway that has 3 different pathways in that one. And we do actually have 2 grants going towards that, hopefully. One will be released here. And the whole point is finding out from the beginning still, going back to what do we need in our area? What is the labor market? And then where do we need to go with our industry partners and where do they want it? So we do have 3 established pathways for computer science already. And it's just continually developing those opportunities. AI is not just one pathway, it's across the board. So it's always making sure that we are keeping up with industry and seeing how they're utilizing it, and also our post-secondary to make sure that we're incorporating that into our curriculum and our opportunities. You're welcome.
Mrs. McCauley, I just want to say thank you so much. I know how hard this has been for you to get all of those grants organized. And Melissa, thank you for getting all the construction done, because I know that Merced High School culinary arts room really well. That was not easy. So
You
thank
have
you
to
to both
do a
of you.
walkthrough. You have to do a
Yeah,
walkthrough.
I do need to go. Thank you.
Yeah. Melissa brought in subcontractors all together and was, like I said, busted it out through the summer. So it's awesome. I could talk CTE all day, but I know you guys might have a long day. So I had to cut out some slides. Ms. Ballinger told me already.
What's that one sector that's missing?
It's manufacturing, industrial manufacturing. So then you've talked about it. I didn't connect that one. Because Patterson has like a great one over there. And so when I always think about, we have our teachers that could also cross over into that. And if you ever go to Patterson High School and what they're already doing, I can't believe I didn't catch on, sorry. It's that chance that we know we needed to improve our manufacturing. And we have so many partners here in our local area to help support. But as we continue to grow, we also know a lot of our pathways do incorporate parts of the manufacturing already, and just making sure what our partners like need, and then that's what we're producing.
That was one of our unfortunate incidents that we did buy. We had a teacher, we bought the materials, and he stayed for like 2 years, and then he went back to industry. So it's hard to find someone who's qualified to teach those classes too, but it's very needed.
Yeah.
So if you know somebody.
Yeah, and really quickly, it's hard because how it used to be with CT, we had these single subject credentials, and they're called the Big Five, and they could teach a lot of different industry sectors and pathways. And then now it's basically they don't offer them as much as at the 4-year colleges, and so now we're just going down people coming straight from industry who are willing, and thank goodness with our salary schedule, we do give opportunities for that higher pay, which is nice to bring in people.
How many certifications do we have available at this point? I mean, I know that's kind of the ultimate goal, right? Is a student completes a pathway and then they're able to, with some additional initiative on their part, sit for some sort of certificate or?
Yes, I know. I'm going in my head how I want to say this answer. Because, for example, diesel. And that's why I'm like, I didn't put industry certs on there. Like, he does some SP ones, but then they'll have kids who have like 7 different, they have brake trainer, they have all these, 7 different ones just under some of them. And you go to our healthcare, and they have their BLS and CPR and half the acronyms I don't know. So in general, I would say at least 50 that are industry, and like we like to say some are like job readiness. And so Mrs. Ballinger is working now with Mrs. Gong to make sure that we do have all those mapped out. I give them out and sent that data last probably 2 weeks ago, and if not, I probably could have given you that exact number. And so again, it's kind of looking at like what are we calling industry, what's calling job readiness. But I would say like go to work industry certs, I would say 50, and then job readiness, I'd say 100 at least.
Right, because that's the goal, is
Yep.
that they're job ready.
Yep, job ready, workforce ready.
Yeah, and I think being able to put various different certifications on their resume is a big deal, right? So just making sure is that built into the curriculum, that when students finish the pathway, they have that.
Correct. And that's what one of the tasks Mrs. Ballinger is asked to make sure we are outlining what are our pathways, which ones are offering dual enrollment, which ones already have an industry cert aligned to them. And again, our goal is to make sure they're equitable across.
Speaking of dual enrollment, how many dual enrollment pathways do we have?
I said it, I'm going to look back 12, it says.
12. Okay. Didn't know. And these grants, I mean, what do they cover? They've enabled us to get equipment, curriculum, field trips. I mean, when the money runs out, or is the program in trouble, or with that grant were we able to establish a basis to build from?
We're very blessed. If I had that slide in, I'm kidding. We have a lot of CT grants right now, and CT money is flowing. So I get CTIG, which is our state grant, which is CT incentive grant. We have Perkins, which is a federal grant. I have another one coming in with the Golden State Pathways. We have like our computer science, and then we just applied or have the apprenticeship grant. So every year I get Perkins and CTIG. And so we have these grants to set up. When we look at these K-12, we look at these grants for big purchases items. What do we need to get in? So like when diesel was starting to set up at Atwater and then our diesel here, we wanted to make big purchases. And so that's what this grant, like we look at when we are gonna apply and when we talk to Merced College, we want the big purchases, because with our Perkins and our CTIG, we have those funding every year to help make sure that we keep running these programs with the consumables and materials they need. Did that answer it? Sorry.
Oh, yes. I just have one last question, because you've done an excellent job getting these grants and getting these big chunks of money. How do we get one for the theater arts, and in particular for Merced and Atwater high schools who...
To make their black box equitable to the theaters that we have at different sites? Yes. Would you like me to answer that? Okay, so for round 7, which is due at the end of the month, we, again, first have to make sure our community college, so we actually are meeting with Merced College tomorrow, and we are proposing our arts, media, entertainment. And so it wouldn't only be theater, because we want to, and poor Morrow emailed me today about that, and I said, you could talk to Dr. Weimer. Anyways, so round 7, that is our goal, to apply for our arts, media, and entertainment, because, again, looking back, what we have. So we also have a couple of grants, the We Will grants. Sorry, I'm like, I know there's a lot of grants I keep doing. Some of them are specific to certain pathways. So like We Will, it was only health or education. Golden State Pathways was health, education, or computer science. This round 7 actually has AI as one of the bonus points. And so, I'll be writing that one in. So that is our next goal, is to look into arts, media, and entertainment. But again, we have to convince Merced College to partner with us. So again, one big thing is when we do look at these grants, we want to make sure we are equitable and sharing it across, whether it's not always ag or it's always one pathway.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you very much.
No problem.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Sorry, do you have a question?
No, she answered it. No, you got it. You answered it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, Mrs. Miller, facilities update, please.
I'm in the hot seat tonight. So I want to thank Jeanette for the kudos, but really she works really hard behind the scenes to make all this happen. So, and we had a great team behind us too. I wish I could come here with as much enthusiasm as Mr. Morrison over here, but I come here humbly tonight to present the facilities update for the 2024 school year. It hasn't necessarily been smooth sailing, but we continue to progress. And nonetheless, my passion for this work remains unwavering. I'm deeply grateful for the dedicated team behind the scenes that ensures our facilities remain functional and ready for the daily demands. I continuously witness the hands-on hard work of our maintenance and operations team, the site custodians who prepare classrooms for the new school year, IT personnel who maintain our sites and have assisted our facilities department this past summer. Just a quick recap of the portable classroom projects. At the start of 2023 school year, Atwater High School received 2 additional portable classrooms. This project was completed at the beginning of the last school year, and students have been housed there for the past year and a half, I believe. At the Golden Valley High School portable project, we faced significant challenges. Severe winter led to complications with locating and relocating utilities, of course, under the site where we were preparing to pour foundations. Despite these setbacks, including discovering critical electrical lines and dealing with accumulated rainwater, we successfully completed the modular classrooms, and we hope to have students in there within the next week or so. Stadium projects at BUHAC and El Capitan High School. We have encountered unexpected underground utilities at BUHAC, of course. Abandoned pipe was discovered between the visitor stadium light poles, and multiple unknown underground utilities in numerous locations throughout the stadium area were found. We'll just, sorry, let me move this along here. There we go. So this is a quick picture of El Capitan High School, what it's going to look like. A little rendering, and a little description of the work that's going to happen out there over the next year. And of course, this is some storm drains that lead to the development located on the site along Barkley Avenue. So it runs across our fields and then into that canal on the other side in the residential area that is soon to come. And then, of course, BUHAC. And also the same little rendering of the site. And much more has been accomplished since this photo was taken, but that's just an idea of the work that's been done. So, additionally, power for the BUHAC Colony High School greenhouse was discovered to be connected to our stadium light poles, of course, necessitating further relocation. Despite the discoveries, construction is progressing at BUHAC High School, and we will see very soon the buildings are being constructed on the far end of the track closest to the tennis court, and then also on the further end towards the practice football field. There's an anticipated delivery date of October 14th for bleacher systems at El Capitan High School. We aim to complete foundations, concrete slabs, and track preparation before the weather worsens. That is our goal, and we are pushing as hard as we can to make that happen. We know that we yearly have to anticipate that regardless of the situation, and so our contractors are working very hard in making that happen. A friendly competition between our BUHAC and El Capitan High School contractor adds a bit of excitement to these projects. So they're both competing to win, and so that's an exceptional opportunity for them to make their name. Okay, so this is just a recap of what our pools are going to look like soon to come. As you can see, in the red outline, that's the footprint of the old pool. And what you're receiving now is that 33-meter pool right there. And 2 additional structures with offices, a comprehensive mechanical room, some locker rooms, and restroom, along with a nice shade structure. Our journey from the conception of the pool projects to now has been lengthy. January 2021, Allen informed the administration that plans for the pools might soon become a reality. 2021 to 2023, extensive discussions and planning with stakeholders and our architect, followed by state review and final approval by the Department of State Architects, finished. February 2023, Atwater High School's pool mechanical system failed, leading to the loss of the pool use for nearly 5 months prior to bidding the project out. Teams had to share facilities with BUHAC before the project even began. We set our first bid date, March 30th, 2023, but the lowest bid was over budget. A decision was made to rebid the project on May 16th, 2023, saving the district approximately $1.2 million. The goal was to complete the pool shell before the inclement weather set in, and despite significant delays caused by weather, such as a 130% increase in average rainfall and persistent saturated soils, we achieved substantial progress. But I do want to address critical time lost. Time is quantified by the following: 6 weeks, 42 days, lost time to rebid the project, but again, a gain of $1.2 million. 39 rain delays. Due to the rain, projects accumulated water from the volume of storm drainage pouring into the sites from adjacent areas. So I'm going to give you a quick, these are the old pools, old mechanical system. Demolition of the existing pools. It's at Merced High School. And this is what you're seeing right now at Atwater High School. Actually, that's an older photo because the other structures are not there. But this is what we were dealing with on a regular basis. A torrential flood, rain, a virtual lake out there. That pool was 3/4 full of water on a regular basis. It took approximately 7 days of dry out time, depending on the site, and then it would rain again 1 day a week, every week, for months. This occurred. You can see how the projects were compromised day in and day out. Trust me, every opportunity to dig foundations, to start the CMU block or pour concrete was taken. If the contractor could get something done, they attempted. The critical defect in terms of storm drainage occurred, requiring an addition of a lift station, causing another 40-day delay to our projects. And yes, I understand, despite our efforts to achieve the goal of completing the pool projects by the beginning of the school year, the 119 working days of lost time was not recoverable. This does not include time lost between our dry out weeks. And that's, if you're gonna multiply the 39 days by 7 days, that's 200 and something days, right? I can only attest to the hard work and efforts made to make this project come to fruition. In return, our students will have a state-of-the-art facility that will last generations to come. The new facilities, again, include a 33-meter pool, 474,735 gallons of water, replacement of old pool structures nicknamed the Chateau and Pigeon's Nest, new locker rooms, restrooms, a comprehensive mechanical room, indoor storage, and coach's office. Exterior improvements like ornamental fencing, new entryways, shade structures, expanded concrete seating, and secured outdoor pool equipment storage have also been added. Upgrades such as an above-ground timing system, a new pool scoreboard, and 10-lane touchpads. But we have a total of 13 lanes now for practice. Despite the numerous challenges, including dewatering issues and site-specific complications, the projects are nearing completion. The rebidding process was crucial in saving costs and ensuring that the new facilities will robustly support our aquatics programs. A stakeholders meeting will be held on site September 17th at Atwater High School, allowing all to walk the site or preview the progress at the new pool. We're going to flip through some of these really quick. This is closer to what it looks like right now. Today they poured the slot drains. Those are those areas around the outer edges of the pool. And HVAC startup begins Monday, and then electrical and power were started up today, actually. Respectively, Merced High School's stakeholder meeting will be held October 9th. Final completion of both projects is to occur for Atwater High School at the end of September, pending the review of the Merced County Health Department and configuration of the pool system. So of course we have to test the system for stability, make sure that we meet all the safety guidelines for our students. And then also, Merced High School will follow in November with the same configuration of the pool mechanical system and health department inspections. And again, this is Merced High School. You can see they have one consistent building in the back side there. The deck has been expanded, and of course the shade structure, which is lovely, let me tell you, that is done. And it looks great out there. I think everyone will appreciate that. That's what it looked like prior to this. It was very well taken care of, but also it definitely needs to be replaced. This is the progress during the pool shotcreting process. So we're pumping concrete into that area. It's very precise and exact process. And then also you can see how much the wet weather affected the area around the pool. And there was no possible way we could get heavy equipment out there to make any kind of progress at all. It was nearly 4 feet down below the surface of the grade around the pool area. This is a quick example of what it looks like now, except for the shade structure is complete. And this is just a review of our conversation in summary. So moving forward, besides all that, we completed our summer projects in maintenance and operations with one remaining project for the Buhat Colony High School Girls Locker Room HVAC replacement that will bid shortly on September 19th. And work for that will occur in December when, so it does not affect students. And that's all I have. Any questions?
I have just one. BC Stadium, they have existing lights.
They do.
But I don't recall, are additional lights being added? Are lights
Only
being replaced?
emergency lighting is added to that, to those stadium lights.
Okay, and same thing for El Cap, because
El Capitan receives new stadium lighting.
Lights,
They
okay.
do. They do not have any
'Cause they don't
existing
have any,
lighting.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Melissa, where are the students at Golden Valley who are moving into portables shortly? Where are they now?
Well, I know that Carrie Haygood Floriano has facilitated some was able to make some additional classrooms available. Mr. Richter can attest to that also.
They are currently in other classrooms. They're not doubled up. We have the space, fortunately. So, and one of the classes is a smaller class. So we've been able to accommodate them, but we are anxious to get into the portables.
And they are available now, unless there's something else going on that I'm not aware of. Any further questions?
So you said Atwater will be done the end of September.
Correct.
And Merced in November. So
Right.
Atwater will have their pool basically for the start of league games.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any chance that Merced will have theirs for sections?
You know, we certainly hope that we can meet and accommodate that. I believe the minute our subcontractors are complete, our contractor is complete over at Atwater. Obviously, they've already started rolling over to Merced, and I daily see our subs working back and forth every day. I know them all very well, so they are a hard-working group, and we're going to do everything we can every day to make things work.
Thank you. Can you give an update on the showers at Merced High? and-
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. So as of now, the boys' shower is complete. It's fully functional. As you are aware, the girls' shower room had some significant decay. The partition walls were had to be ripped out. So we're dealing with other issues other than just some dry rot and other things. We have to retile certain areas of the room, and so it's taking a little more time. And also the same subcontractors are working on the pool or else simultaneously working on that room. So I've asked for a very dedicated timeline to get it done, and I'll have that shortly.
If you don't mind sharing that when
Mhm.
you have it, that would be
Absolutely.
great. Okay, thank you. Thank
Sure.
you for your hard work. It's
No,
a lot.
thank you guys
I know.
for your support, and we hope to make all the dreams come true.
All the dreams.
Thank you, guys.
Very good, thank you. At this time, we'll move to the Employee Association comment period. Mr. Pust?
Finally, the important part of the show. Good evening, President Pickle, Superintendent Peterson, Cabinet, and board members. I'm going to talk tonight about electronics in the classroom. We've made great progress towards a positive culture of electronic use responsibly in education. However, there are some issues that I want to bring forward that we're going to be discussing with the district in the near future. Chromebooks provide access to a vast array of educational tools for teachers, students alike. Teachers can put tests, textbooks, homework assignments, and projects and student reporting all online. I personally utilize a free online math website called MyOpenMath. And in this website, I can code problems that align with AP type questions. These questions that I create provide an infinite number of possibilities for each possible question, and that enables me to give all of my students an individualized test that does not kill 75 trees. With this program, and I'm only speaking of my experience with the online benefits, I'm able to provide students on homework assignments an infinite number of tries on any given problem that I've assigned, and they can see instantaneously whether they have got the correct or incorrect answer. This eliminates the one and done, oh, I'll wait till tomorrow to see if I have the right answer and get help. They know instantaneously, I'm confused about this subject, I need to get help from my teacher or my classmates. On a different level, for any test or quiz, it's no longer a one and done. I get it, I do it, it's right or wrong, and that's it. They see instantly if I have it right or wrong, and I give them 4 tries on each problem with 20% decrease in points possible if you miss it. This encourages students and rewards students for perseverance and error analysis. These are extremely important in the classroom, and this is only one example of the use of this. Now, aside from the many benefits that electronics have in classroom, there are many downsides as well. With kids being online, they can get distracted easily with social media, any non-educational app or game that's on there. Without properly restricting them in class from these things, it is going to be just like having a cell phone in their hand. Our district has recognized this and has taken appropriate steps to make an effective cell phone policy district-wide to get those distractions out of their hands. We do not, and I say we because you obviously understand that we do not want this type of distraction for our students. It is absolutely necessary that teachers have the ability to be able to restrict and block unwanted, uneducational websites from their class. Without this ability, the Chromebook is just a cell phone. That's all it is. And I hear people say all the time, oh, you can just walk around the room. But how am I supposed to stop and help somebody if I'm constantly trying to look at everybody's screen? These website blocking things, I've heard GoGuardian in particular, oh, teachers just sit at their desks. That's not the case. The way that I use it is I block all of the sites that do the step-by-step solutions for students on test days and test days alone. On any homework day, any other day, they can use those as a tool, and they are valuable tools. But on test and quiz days, if those are available, it really detracts from educational integrity and the grades that they're achieving on those. With that said, we're going to be asking that the purchase and availability of these website blocking sites or apps not be put on the site budget, but as the district recognizes the Chromebook and online education as an important and valuable tool to education, that they include that in a budget that doesn't go to the site. This should not be something that is opted out or able to be opted out of because of budgetary constraints put on the site. And I think that's all I have to say about that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Pest. Ms. Kelly?
A quick question, Mrs. Gorman. So the district does have Go Guardian?
It's a site purchase, and most sites are using it at just
Okay. But there are a few sites that do not.
maybe one, if memory serves. The majority, if not all, are.
And will
Okay.
not next year.
Okay.
We will not next year.
Can I just add that we don't need special software to block sites?
Correct.
Do that in a conversation?
Well, but also Go Guardian has, within Go Guardian, create scenes, and every teacher has the ability to do that at their discretion. So I was just curious if, yeah. But you're right, yeah.
Well, I know my son had an issue this year in one of his classes where there was a site blocked, and it was it was explained as being a district-wide thing, but maybe it was just a site-specific, and it took several days for that to get unblocked? Yeah? Okay. Interesting. It's an interesting topic. Thank you for bringing it up.
I would love to have a Q&A session with anybody that would like to talk.
Okay.
Just want to have it now, I'm willing.
We'll get it worked out.
Thank you. Apologies. Thanks for your patience.
I work in special education. If that's the biggest disruption, it's a good day. So, President Ham, Cabinet, Superintendent Peterson, thank you for having us. As per usual, I came with one thing to say, and now I have four. So, actually, I think it's five. So, Melissa Miller, thank you for the updates on everything. It's very exciting to see what's coming at working at Atwater High School. I banter with some of the parents from Buhack Colony, and I was telling one of them, I said, I'm very excited you're going to get your stadium next year because we're ready to have ours back. And they said, well, good, because we want you out of our pool. And I was like, fair point, fair point. So with that being said, I just want to remind everybody that with more facilities and things coming along is the need for people to clean them and take care of them. We've actively spoken that we need more custodians across the board, and that's 2 new football stadiums and 2 new pool areas that are going to need to be cleaned. That along with the other areas, the other schools that have already been built and are already up and running, we see that there is a custodian shortage across the board, and they have to make decisions on, should we do this or do that? And the reality is the cleanliness of our schools are the most important. So if we need to hire more, we need to find a way to get more people working to make sure that our facilities are clean. Second, talking about the reclassification process that was brought up, I want to let the board know that the reality is the reclassification process is one tool. And that tool goes across the entire spectrum. It goes from office staff to kitchen staff to custodians to bus drivers. And the reality is the reclassification process was done correctly. If we didn't want to have professional integrity, we could have found a way to get that to come up, but I would never work in an environment like that. The reclassification everything was done correctly. Unfortunately, that was as high that we could get the bus drivers up. With that being said, as the classified people left that, we recognized that that was a problem. So we went back as an e-board and as a negotiations team. And one of the things that we wrote in this year into our contract, because we have an open contract right now, is to add, right now we only have the opportunity to reclassify. We have introduced language to have a reevaluation process. That means that positions like this, where a bus driver, where maybe they don't meet the criteria for reclassification, but the surrounding areas do pay more, or they have different benefits in the area for that particular classification, it allows the district to go back and reevaluate what the areas around look like. So we have introduced that into our contract language, and we are actively in negotiations right now, and hopefully that is one of the things that we'll be able to add. So with that being said, we are actively in negotiations, and bus drivers, rest assured, that is something that we are actively addressing. Mr. Peterson had made a call to us, and Kelly, yes, Mr. P, he said, I want you to work closely with Brett, and let's get something done. And we both have presented sides, and we are getting there. The thing is, you can throw money at anything, but if you don't fix the foundation of what is going on, then you can throw money and people continue to leave. So there's some operational things that we have introduced in our negotiations so that we can ensure that everybody has fair and equitable right to all trips, overtime hours, extra hours, that all bus drivers have equal opportunity to participate in those. And so we want to have it a mutual thing. They go hand in hand. So we're going to work to make sure that it's beneficial for all financially, but also that they all have fair access to all trips. So bus drivers, rest assured, we are working on it. Next, I heard the CTE program. I want to share a success story that we had recently. I was very excited. It's one of Christy Johnson's students. They've gone through the program. We had a young person go through Mr. Gossman's program at Atwater High School. He participated in the workability program. He participated with Department of Rehabilitation, where they provided him almost 400 hours where they paid him to work for Atwater High School. He graduated in June, and 2 weeks ago, we hired him as a full-time custodian at Atwater High School. He's the kind of person that learned the skills. He was dedicated, motivated. He's the kind of kid that will stay with our district till he retires. He'll start as a custodian, he'll move here, he'll go there. I can see him in M&O, being on the groundskeeping crew. He's fantastic, but he wouldn't have been where he is at age 19 had it not been for the workability program and the CTE programs that you guys have introduced. He is the kind of kid, and we have many of them. He's just kind of fell into it, but he is the kind of kid that will be with us for a very long time, and it's proof that the CTE program, how beneficial it is for our kids. I would have said, hey, why don't you come with us and talk? And he would, already know him, he'd say, I just started this job, I can't have a day off. And he's that kind of kid, it's wonderful. So that brings to what I initially wanted to say tonight, and it was very, there's been a lot going on in this district. As you guys know, there's been a lot all over the place. I just want to make sure that you guys pause and that the directors pause, everybody pauses and recognizes that our classified employees, our certificated employees, our administrators, everybody, I appreciate that as you saw the social media posts, everything come out, none of us engaged in that. We stayed out of it. They didn't, get tit for tat on social media. I did follow along. I watched what was going on because I wanted to make sure that none of our people were in there because, I would have a conversation with them. That's not appropriate. But I'm very, very proud of our employees at Merced Union High School District and the fact that they allowed their voices to be heard in the proper format. They were there last week. They were here tonight. They addressed it with you privately. They didn't get in mudslinging matches over social media or anything, and I'm very proud of them, and I hope that you guys are as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kelly.
I do have a question, though. You said you introduced new language instead of reclassification. I missed what you called it.
It's called reevaluation.
Got it. Thank you.
Yes,
That's
no
all.
problem. That was easy.
Especially appreciate the story you shared about the young man. Really great to hear. Thank you. All right, at this time, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Is there a second?
I second that motion.
Trustee Jayasinga, would you please acknowledge the donations?
I might need a second. Oops, a daisy. All right, so for the month of September, the following donations were received by our schools, and I'd like to thank the donors for their generosity. For Atwater High School, we have a donation from the AHS alumni for the Legacy Scholarship, Glenn and Cheryl Arnold for the Glenn and Cheryl Arnold Scholarship, Nuevo Latino Rotary Club of Winton for the scholarship in their name, another donation from Glenn and Cheryl Arnold for the Caden Hultgren recipient, Karen Bizzini for the Karen Bizzini Scholarship, Man Up Opportunity Foundation towards Atwater Water Polo, Merced Elks Lodge towards Atwater FFA, Lori Myers Jantz towards Atwater Sierra Nevada Club, and moving on to Livingston High School, Janet and Howard Gentry made a donation towards girls basketball, Stephen Robert Sherwood towards Livingston football, Joyce and Kenneth Coffrin towards student scholarships, and the California Lions Camp Foundation towards Livingston Aquatics. And for Merced High School, Janice Kaplanis, class of 1969 scholarship, American Red Cross Merced High School scholarship, Kenji Hakuta and Nancy Goodman towards the UC Merced scholarship, and then Claudia Eaton towards the Eddie Guerrero scholarship. Thank you so much for everyone's generosity.
Thank you, Trustee Jayasinga. Are there any questions on the consent agenda? If there are none, then we'll call for the vote. Okay, that passes unanimously. At this time, we'll move on to the action agenda. Mrs. Ballinger, the declaration of sufficient instructional materials, please.
Yes, thank you, Ms. Ham and fellow board members. State funds distributed to LEAs for the purchase of instructional materials are governed by Ed Code Section 60420 to 60424 and Title V regulations. In accordance with the requirements of the law, the Board of Trustees must certify that books purchased with this funding are aligned with State Board of Education's adopted content standards and adopted by the local board for grades 9 through 12 prior to their purchase, which we do. Education Code Section 60119 requires that local governing boards hold an annual public hearing and adopt a resolution certifying that each pupil in each school in the district has sufficient textbooks and or instructional materials in each subject that are consistent with the state's content standards and reviewed and adopted by the local Board of Trustees for grades 9 through 12 schools. Amendments have been made that require the public hearing to now be held on or before the end of the 8th week from the first day students attend school for that year. The definition of sufficiency has been changed for core academic courses to mean that each student has a textbook or other instructional material or both to use in the class and to take home. Core academic courses are defined as mathematics, science, history, social science, and English language arts. The board shall make determinations of the sufficiency of instructional materials also for foreign language and health courses and regarding the availability of lab science equipment for science courses in grades 9 through 12. A review of current inventory and outstanding textbook orders show that students will have sufficient textbooks and instructional materials under Ed Code Section 60119 and the Williams Settlement legislation on or before the end of the 8th week after the first day of school for the 2024-25 school year. So the superintendent recommends that the board adopt the resolution number 0224, sufficiency of instructional materials, and conduct a public hearing.
Do I need to open a public hearing? Yes, okay. So I'm going to open a public hearing at 7:09. Is there anyone who would like to comment? Then we will close the public hearing at 7:10. And now we need to take a motion on this, yes? Okay. Sorry. Is there a motion to adopt resolution 02-24? Is there a motion?
I so move.
And a second?
I second that motion.
Are there any questions? Seeing none, we'll call for the vote.
Do you want me to vote, Mrs. Roebuck, or you should leave it present? Okay.
And that carries 5-0. Okay, at this time, Mr. Nicholson will talk about certificated assignment waivers.
Good evening. Tonight we are seeking a board approval for subsequent EL waivers. So trustees must take action on each request for a variable term waiver. The Commission on Teacher Credentialing requires that waivers be requested for individuals not fully credentialed in a specific area. The district's practice is to not request waivers except in the areas where there's a shortage of available candidates. At this time, we are requesting subsequent waivers in the areas of certificate or credential to provide instruction to limited English proficient students, and one waiver in teacher of English learner students. The alternative would be to disapprove the waiver request, which would require filling the position with other individuals, and at this time would be extremely difficult to do. So the superintendent recommends the Board of Trustees approve the waivers as submitted for the 24-25 school year.
Is there a motion to approve the waivers?
I make the motion to approve the waiver.
Second?
I'll second.
Any questions? Call for the vote. That also carries. Mr. Nicholson, you're still in the hot seat.
All right. So for this next item, we are seeking board approval for certificated assignments. Education Code 44263 allows a certificated employee to teach out of his or her area of certification with approval from the board. If the individual has completed 18 semester hours of coursework or 9 semester hours of upper division or graduate work in the subject to be taught. Also, Education Code 44258.7 allows a certificated employee to teach out of his or her area of certification with approval from you if the individual has completed first aid instruction appropriate to the sports being coached. So all certificated staff brought forth meet requirements for either Education Code 44263 or 44258.7. So the recommended action, or the superintendent recommends the approval of the teachers on the attached list being assigned to teach out of their area of certification in accordance with those education codes.
Is there a motion to approve teachers teaching out of their areas of certification in accordance with the appropriate ed codes?
I so move.
And a second?
I second that motion.
Are there any further questions? Call for the vote. All right, that one passes as well. One more time, Mr. Nicholson.
Two more times? All right. Yeah. Tonight, I bring before you the bonus pay structure for the 24-25 school year for substitute teachers. So the district has a need for qualified substitute teachers. Given that many substitute teachers teach not only in our district, but also in other school districts, it is recommended that we implement a structured bonus for substitute teachers who teach consecutive days in our district during the school year. This bonus pay will incentivize substitute teachers to work more in our district. The structured bonus pay is listed there below. So the superintendent recommends the Board of Trustees approve the structured bonus pay for substitute teachers for this school year.
Is there a motion to approve the substitute teacher bonus pay?
I'll make the motion to approve.
Is there a second?
I will second that motion.
Are there any questions or discussion?
I have a question. This is the same schedule,
Yes.
so, okay, just renewing it. And then, how does our pay compare by period?
So our pay, when a person works 6 or 7 periods during the day, we're very competitive with all other places in the county.
So, but when we employ a sub, they are working all periods, right? Because we're pulling them for the teacher's prep to work somewhere else.
Ideally, yes.
Ideally, but how often does it not occur?
I don't have those numbers in front of me, but I could generate something.
So this bonus cycle is still in effect whether a teacher teaches 5 periods, 6 periods, 7 periods.
Yes, this is based on days, consecutive days.
And these are the same, I thought it was $90 one time. No, it was $150. We started at $150 post-COVID?
Last year we did for sure.
Oh, last year was $150, okay. And have you found this to be tremendously effective?
Yeah, we have a good number of substitute teachers earning the incentive bonus pay.
I know there was a day a week or two ago where we had a abnormal amount of teachers out, and were we able to fill?
We did. We were in the high 80s percentage wise filled that day with substitutes, and we were able to period sub with teachers the rest of the day to get covered.
If you remember, 3 years ago, we struggled with subs, and then we went to this structure, and there are days that we struggle, but the vast majority we do not.
What is the goal for coverage with substitute teachers? You said high 80s. That sounds like, oh, we're short. So what are you trying to get to?
Well, we'd like to have 100% coverage for sure.
Okay. I think that this was a creative approach when we had a problem to getting subs. I wonder if we should consider something along these lines as Mr. Haven suggested for sub bus drivers. I don't know that this is the exact, I don't know if it's a one-time bonus like this or what, but, that point was well taken.
Yeah, they're working on a number of different ideas and negotiations.
Okay. What's our per period rate?
$24 an hour for period.
Is there a minimum amount of periods they have to work?
No, there's partial day substitutes, and a vast majority of them are full day.
But if they work, is there any that work one period only?
Very rarely, if there is. So for those types of absences, we'll period sub out with teachers.
And then on average, how many substitutes are in the district daily?
It varies, but it can be anywhere from 50 or 60 to 100.
Daily?
On the high day, it would be around 100, yeah.
Do you happen to know how much this costs the district annually? I know we're asking you a lot of questions. Yeah.
We'd have to get back
Yeah.
to you on that.
I'll get that one and put it in the post.
Okay, thank you.
I guess my only other comment is that we're, and I'm sure we are, but utilizing the subs as effectively as we can, so we don't have, because there's no other stipulation in here as far as half day, full day. It's just basically you work a period and you're on the cycle. You're on the bonus cycle. So making sure that we're utilizing the subs and we don't have, say, someone working partial, go somewhere else and we're,
Yeah,
you know.
understood.
Brett, wouldn't you say that most of them are half day at minimum?
At minimum.
Right. I mean,
Most
I
are
know-
full day, and
right.
then as absences come up during the day, they get pulled and shuffled into other places, and then we're still having to use period subs at times, so.
And usually that's like 4 periods. So they
At
could
least.
be
At least,
15 consecutive days of 4 periods, and they would get their bonus.
yes.
Okay. I think that might have been one of the questions we had.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or we add some stipulation at some point that we
I-
want a longer day for the bonus.
What do we go? Most of the sites go like 1 through 5 before lunch. I mean, I'm ballparking.
Yeah,
it, and
1
I'm
through
not
4
looking at a
or 1
calendar
through
anything.
5.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So they usually probably work 5 periods. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Any further comments or discussion? Is this something that could be, I mean, pretty easily you could add a stipulation?
Yes.
I mean, we're not talking about
I-
district employees, right? This would be a policy.
Yeah, this is for substitute teachers.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could amend this at any time.
Okay. I think that's maybe an appropriate discussion. This doesn't, okay, this is for, well, okay. All right, call for the vote. Okay, that passes 5-0. This is really your last time, Mr. Nichols. Okay. Negotiations, update,
right.
please.
Thank you. Tonight we bring before you the district and DTA's proposal for negotiations for the 25-26 and 26-27 school year. Education Employment Relations Act requires the district and its bargaining units to sunshine their initial proposals prior to commencing negotiations. This process is described in Education Code 3547. The district is required to present its initial proposal at a public meeting, which we did last month, and enable the public to become informed and have the opportunity to express public comment. Following that public comment, the governing board must adopt the district's initial proposal at the next meeting, which is tonight. So tonight, the district and DTA bring before you safety or articles regarding safety, unit member evaluations, department chairs, and remuneration. Our recommended action is that the Board of Trustees approves the district and DTA's proposal for the 25-26 and 26-27 negotiations.
Is there a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion to approve.
And a second?
Second.
Any questions or discussion? Call for the vote. Thank you, Mr. Nicholson.
Before you leave, Mr. Nicholson, I did have a question, clarification on the waivers. There was the wording said waiver in teacher, in English learner situation. However, like, for example, I saw one of the, what do you call it, the safety service CTE instructors in that. How does that?
The large group on that list are CTE credentialing teachers, so they have their preliminary credential, they're working towards clearing their credential, and the EL authorization is part of that. So all the people on that list we gave a waiver to last year. They're now in year 2 of their credentialing process. They needed another one for this year, and then they ideally will finish their credential this spring and be fully credentialed in the fall.
Well, how is the English learner part fit into that?
So most of these people come from industry, so they don't have a teaching background. So part of their coursework is learning how to teach English learners. And so they'll be authorized through their credential.
Okay, thank you.
And it's through the CTC, right? That's a requirement nowadays from the state that they have that, so they may not, and that's why they have to do it. And that's why we do a waiver, just to get them through.
If your question is more of the lines of why does the CTE teacher need that particular credential, all of our sites have significant numbers of English learners, and so they most likely have at least one of them in their classes, and the state requires that if you have any English learners in your classes that you have the certification.
Okay. And one more, so one was waivers and the other one was just board approval of certified assignments. What was the difference in the two?
So the certificated assignments one is that those people are fully credentialed, but because they have upper division coursework or so many units in college of that particular subject, with your approval, we can authorize them to teach out of their single subject area. So the waiver is that they don't have it yet. In the certificated assignment is that they do have a credential plus the upper division coursework, so we can authorize them to teach a class out of their credential.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. All right, if I'm not mistaken, Dr. Weimer, carry us home. You got the next 4.
Good evening, and the first one is the Proposition 28, and there is no display for that particular one. There are 3 pieces for the Proposition 28, 2 of which you'll see every year. So for each allocation, you have to have a plan where the site sends you how they would like to spend your money. At the end of a year, you have to do a report that says how you spent your money. And at the end of the 3 years, you have to do the final report, because you might not spend it all in 1 year and you might carry it over multiple years. So tonight you have the 23-24 report, which says we did not spend any of our Proposition 28 money last year. And we did that on purpose. It's a calculation process. You have 3 years to spend the money. So 23-24, we used other funds that had expiration dates to cover the needs. It's not that we did not fund our arts programs last year. We did. We just did it with different funds. Proposition 28 then from the 23-24 carries over to this year, and so we'll use that money this year. This year's allocation we'll use next year. Next year's allocation we'll use the year after. Part of the reason for that is also calculations. They haven't even told us what our allocation is for this year. So we would be starting the year going halfway through the first semester and not even know how much they're giving to us. So how does the site do a plan and gauge how much they're supposed to be spending when you haven't even got the money yet? So being a year behind, we always know exactly the amount that we got last year. We can have better plans. We can stay on top of those things, and we don't have to worry about changing things midway. The amount that we got last year actually changed 3 times from the state. So we would have to do 3 updates and do changes 3 times, and if you ever happen to go down, then you have to go tell sites you can't spend money that you already told them you had. So we won't ever get into those problems the way in which we're doing. So the first one is the report, and that says we did not spend any of that money last year. That will be spent all this year. The second one that you have there in front of, attached, is each site principal gets the folks on their campus together, puts a plan together on how they would like to spend their allocation, and you can see on that sheet how they set it. We don't really go through and change any of that or whatever. They put the allocations there, and we just put it before the board. Superintendent recommends the board approve the 23-24 Proposition 28 annual report and the 24-25 Proposition 28 plan.
Is there a motion to approve the Prop 28 report and plan?
I'll make the motion to approve the plan.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions? Call for the vote.
I guess my only question would have been based on ADA, right? That's how the money was divided.
Mostly, there's a few other calculations on unduplicated, but it's
Thank
mostly
you.
ADA.
Thank you.
And that carries 5-0. Dr. Weimer.
The next one happens to be a resolution in support of Proposition 2, which will be on the November ballot. The state is out of school facility program funds and cannot provide the state match for almost $3.5 billion worth of projects which qualify for state aid. I can kind of just leave it at that. So they are putting Proposition 2 on the ballot, which is a bond measure, which would be used for school facilities. And the second line there is the one that makes it important to us, why we'd have a resolution in support tonight. MUHSD currently has $887,781 on the application received beyond bond authority list, which means that could be funded completely or partially if the bond were to pass. Superintendent recommends the board approve the resolution 0424 in support of Proposition 2.
Is there a motion to approve a resolution 0424 in support of Proposition 2?
I so move.
And a second?
Second.
Any questions? Call for the vote. And that passes unanimously. Dr. Weimer, moving on to the unaudited actuals.
I would like to say that this is the end for the 23-24 year, but we know that it's not. Unaudited actuals are here, but you will get the final audit probably in January, so we will be revisiting 23-24 one more time. But we do have the unaudited actuals. This is it. The books are closed. It's unaudited just because the audit's not done yet, but pretty much everything is closed. It's just in a matter of review stages. So we see the LCFF components. This is the slides that you are used to. The only thing that it doesn't have is multi-year projections, because all we're talking about is how last year ended. We're not actually talking about the budget going forward. Again, you can see the different places where we got our revenues, and you're going to see other state income a little bit higher than it normally is at that 12.54%. So part of those is the last of the one-time monies that we were receiving as revenues. Expenditures, you can see the subtotal is 205 and then transfers out 236 million. And the one that I would really like to look at, we do have the unaudited actuals for last year, and you can see we were at $49 million in the ending balance. We're at 46.8 this year. And then the next slide, you will see the issue and where we're looking at. And this is, you see the ending components, but you see that the amount of money that's in that 46 million, 26 million of that is restricted. It was 31 million last year. Others committed is 4 million. So we're talking about $30 million worth of funds. Those things in a normal year would be 5 to 7 million. So there is still funding in there that is one-time funds, that once that is gone, you're going to see that ending balance somewhere down in the 20 range, not in the 46 range. It's not going to get back down to the 5 to 7 million. It's probably going to be closer from 10 to 12, because all of the things that Janetta is talking about and doing, we are getting more, not our normal one-time funds, but more of our revolving one-time funds. So not the COVID ending one-time funds, but more funds for the community schools grant, more CTE one-time funds, all of those things. We won't get back to where we were normally carrying over about 5 to 6 million a year in those funds. We're probably going to be closer to the 10 million because we're getting so many more of those now than we were 5 or 6 years ago. But a large part of that is the last of the COVID funds and the learning loss funds that will be gone by 26, because 26 is the expenditure deadline for those. So a large majority of that, 46 million right here at the bottom, is that which will be gone, a large part of it this year, most of it by, better be all of it by 26, or we're giving checks back and we're not planning to do that. So then we're going to see the ending balances for the different funds. The Student Activities Fund is just a way in which we have to keep track of what our ASB students do on their school sites. At the end of the year, they give us the money, and then when we start the year, we give it right back. But that's the only way it gets into the books. Otherwise, it's not in the books. So that's really money that just comes in from ASB and goes right back out. Adult education is funded through the consortium. So whatever money is there, the consortium will give us money to run the Merced Adult School, and that money will go in, and that's how they run their programs. Does not come out of our regular general fund. Child Development Center is at Yosemite campus, East Campus, and we fund that, and so we put the roughly $600,000 each year into that fund. That covers the operations of the Child Development Center on East Campus. Cafeteria and nutrition services, this comes from the free and reduced lunch program. So when we sell meals, we get reimbursed, and then most of our nutrition services fees, expenses come out of that. Transportation, you can see we did spend a little bit last year. We did get 1 round of buses. We do still have 1 round of buses that we've ordered that have not come in yet. They're supposed to be coming in this month. So we will be getting those, and that'll bring that down by about another 1.7 million. Deferred maintenance, so part of that is still the summer projects that haven't been billed yet. So all those HVAC systems and things that Melissa had on that last slide. When you go into June and July, you don't get to put it in last year's books because July is this year and it finishes in July. So most of the expenses come in July and August, and so those will be coming out of that deferred maintenance. The building fund and the special reserve for capital facility are the last of the bond money, and the money we have for facilities, that is our pools and our stadiums. So as we're getting close to pools, that doesn't mean we paid for them yet. There are tons of bills that will still come in for those pools for the work that has been done, and then the large majority of the stadium money is still in there and has not been spent yet. The other one, Fund 25 then is developer fees. That will be some money that we will have available to us as we grow and expand. We can use the developer fees to cover the growth that we have. We use it right now for the portables. So those portable projects and our annual fees for our portables comes out of developer fees. Special reserve is where we keep our reserve for economic uncertainties, that 10% that we like to keep. That's half of it, and half of it is in the general fund. So between the two, we have our 10% that we keep in reserve. And then special reserve for post-employment benefits is when staff retires, we cover the base cap up to the cap amount of the retirement benefits till 65 for a lot of our staff. That comes out of that. That covers the PARs that we just did, and we'll have enough in there for another PARs if we needed to in that particular fund. And that is not ours. That has to do with interest on the debt and other things that run through the county, but we have to report it on our books, but we don't get to touch it, which is just cruel. Questions?
I do have a question. You said we have another round of buses coming. Have we had to purchase any of the electric ones?
This is the last ones that we got under the old system where we have not had to purchase any electric ones. We don't have any infrastructure for them yet, so we haven't really gone that route. We probably will purchase our first electric bus within the next year to year and a half, I would say. At some point, we're going to just need to get a few in so we can start getting used to them. Once you start doing that, it's a total shift. Our mechanics are not used to working on electric buses. We have to put in all of the electric infrastructure, which will be part of the finishing up of the business park. So as that goes in and the infrastructure is put in there to be able to handle the electric buses in the future that we're going to need, then we'll start picking up some of those so we can start getting used to those. We are still dragging the feet a little bit, hoping the batteries get better, because most of the buses out there can't do our long daily routes, let alone transportation for a trip. So they might be able to do an inner Merced City run or maybe a short Atwater run, but the idea that they're going to be going out to Belico or something like that and not be pushing it is suspected right now.
So we're not required yet.
If we, after this round, when the buses come in, if we were to buy another bus, we would have to match it with an electric bus at the same time.
It's 1 for 1?
It's 1 for 1 for a couple years, then it's completely EV.
And is the state providing funds for the charging stations?
I don't know.
They had a program. It was one of the things that didn't survive very well in the budget cuts this year. There's a few things out there that we're going to be able to probably take advantage of as we put them out at the business park, but it's nowhere where they were wanting to be when they approved these mandates.
I was at a superintendent's meeting on Friday with about 60 other superintendents, and I'm going to project that there's going to be a lot of pushback. You have districts just refusing to do this for obvious reasons, like if you have an electric bus and you make it over the hill to Reno and you don't have access to charging stations and you have difficult road conditions, your buses end up on the side of the road in Truckee, and then the Placer County Office of Education has to send their diesel buses to go pick those students up that were in the electric buses. So we're nowhere near capacity here statewide. We're better off because it's flat, right? We don't have to deal with hills, but those with difficult geographies or long routes, we have long routes, not good enough yet. And we have constant activities and oftentimes long trips. And so no, we're not near capacity, and I don't think this is the end of the conversation about how this is really going to look in the future.
So, Mr. Peterson, you foresee, like in these types of meetings that you just had, superintendents pushing back on the state or somehow?
Yes.
Great.
And I can guarantee you, and hopefully we don't get to that point, but the first time we tell 6 schools that we don't have 12 buses to go to the Santa Cruz Band Festival on a weekend because we don't have any batteries that will go that far, I can guarantee you the diesel buses will be taking tons of parents up to Sacramento, and they might change their mind.
So I know with the pushback, oftentimes things like this are they're pushed back a little bit, they're pushed off a little bit, extending the timeline. However, even if that does occur, do we have some type of a tentative plan for training our staff on how to maintain these buses, maybe in the next few years?
One of the things with the resolution that we did on the buses in the late spring was to address all of these issues, not just the pay issue, but to track all of these issues. That's part of that component. We have to have the staff to be able to do what we're doing right now, but then we need somebody who can also start looking into what does this mean? How do we get the infrastructure in there, at least to get started out at the business park and all that. So all of that will come as packages. Not just the one part.
And if they want to mandate that this is going to happen, okay, great. Then let's build our capacity in the Merced area with charging stations and give us the money to put the infrastructure in, on our own campuses.
And do we know if they're going to require bus drivers to have a special certification for electric buses?
I would guarantee that they are going to. It will be required simply because it's a transportation of students. I think we're going to have more issues with our mechanics than we will with the bus drivers themselves as far as the certification.
And there will be self-driving buses, right?
Yes. With yes. I'm hoping, and I understand a little bit of what they did. I'm hoping they realized very quickly what they did, which was they wanted to get this going, and they figured there was no other way to even get the conversation started other than doing this. Of course, as soon as they did that, they weren't expecting the ramifications, which was there is no company that makes diesel buses in California because there's no market for it. So even if we wanted to purchase a diesel bus, the likelihood that you're going to find one is very low, and you can't buy the ones that are made in other states because they don't meet our air quality standards. That was not an intended consequence. They thought they were going to have 5 to 7 years to be able to have these conversations, and the bus companies just said, bye.
Which is why we made a number of major purchases over the last few years.
I will say the major electrical test facility in the state is your neighbor at the district office, and I know they test EV buses out there. But I also think there's just so many more complications with EV. The range, beyond that, where do you charge? I actually have an electric vehicle now, and I had an experience with a university bus that was using public chargers, and the bus driver waited 5 hours to get a charger, and then he took 5 hours to charge. He had no passengers, but can you imagine? Anyway.
Another piece of that is when they initially sold it, they were telling everybody how much money they were going to save because you're not going to buy diesel and you're going to charge your buses on the trickle charges overnight. So nobody put in fast chargers. Everybody in the first rounds who adopted buses put in trickle chargers. Well, what happens when I'm in a bus and I'm in Santa Cruz and I need to charge in Santa Cruz to come home? I don't need to sit there for 8 to 12 hours on a trickle charge to be able to get back home. That doesn't work.
Or here, at the band review here.
Yeah, or the band review here, when people are wanting to be on our chargers so they can get back home.
Are there any districts in the state who have adopted electric buses? Do you know?
Modesto is quite a ways down the road on the electric buses.
Merced City has a number of electric buses, but they have short routes.
Yeah.
So when Modesto travels here, or do they not take an electric
They tell their
bus?
parents to drive you.
Oh, okay. Great. I just wondered, are we getting calls? Chargers?
No.
We charge the bus? No.
That was one of the reasons Modesto early went to wanting all Modesto schools to be in their own league, so they didn't have to provide transportation and they could basically say, get to places on your own.
That's too bad. That
And
makes sense.
That's
It is-
happening all over the state too, where districts are just doing away with transportation.
So the superintendent does recommend the Board of Trustees accept and approve the report of unaudited actuals for the fiscal year 23-24.
Is there a motion to approve the unaudited actuals for fiscal year 2023-24?
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
Any further questions or discussion? Call for the vote. All right, that passes 5-0. Dr. Warner, conflict of interest code.
In even years, the district has to review its conflict of interest code, and then we have to provide that to the County Board of Supervisors. If we make any changes or adjustments, we have to make that note and then pass along an approval of that as well. So the district conflict of interest code is contained in board policy, Board Bylaw 9270. It recommends that the bylaw be revised to accurately identify designated positions. New positions on the list are shown in italics. Titles of revised or deleted positions are shown with a strikeout. the language where you can see that most everything was stricken out and then there's a whole new policy. There is not a lot of substantive change in that, but there was a lot of formatting changes over the years between ours and CSBA's. And so we have taken the language from CSBA so that we know it is most up to date, most accurate. And then we did have a few position changes and updates that we made. So the superintendent recommends the board adopt resolution 0524 verifying the biennial review of the district's conflict of interest code, direct staff to submit the 24 local agency biennial notice to the County Board of Supervisors, and approve revisions to Board Bylaw 9270 and appendix as submitted.
Is there a motion to adopt resolution 0524?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions? Call for the vote. Thank you, Dr. Weimer. And that passes unanimously. Thank you, Dr. Weimer, for always keeping us on budget, on task, summarized so clearly. Much appreciated. Mr. Peterson, the superintendent's report, please.
Okay, short and sweet, Mrs. Ham. I just want to thank Mrs. Dunphy tonight. That was one of the best student presentations that I can remember in recent memory. So thank you to the Golden Valley FFA Club. Thank you to Jeanette for clearly pointing out all the work done in CTE. She has just been outstanding in gathering various grants, working with Mandy to refine pathways and to pair them up and partner with Merced College. And we're very proud of all the dual enrollment and CTE programs that we can offer our students, and they can easily enroll in Merced College. We've broken down a lot of barriers there. Mr. Weimer, thank you for the unaudited actuals presentation. As you can see, we're in good financial shape going forward. We have a number of facility projects coming to completion and also beginning, and that you'll start to see that reflected in the budget next year, where things kind of balance out. We had an employee make a mistake in this district early in the year. It was incredibly uncomfortable and even traumatic for many. And I just want to say, I'm just going to reiterate really what Kelly said. I'm proud the way our staff and community reacted to it. You know, people get online and they say all kinds of things, and they're very brave behind a screen. But these are real human beings that come to work every day and bust their tail for our kids. And I'm just proud of the resilience and strength that was shown primarily by the BUHAC colony staff and the rest of the district just being supportive. This group right here, board members, myself, the governance team, cabinet, had a very difficult decision to make, and it was made thoughtfully and thoroughly and appropriately. And I think you saw that tonight. I cannot remember ever having a group of people show up at a board meeting to say thank you for an outcome that wasn't their first choice. So I think that says a lot about the BUHAC Colony staff. I think it says a lot about our district, and I just appreciate your patience in working with us through the matter, and just want to thank everyone. That's all.
Thank you, Mr. Peterson. All right, we'll move on to trustee communication. Mr. Coleman?
I had the opportunity to go to a few back-to-school nights, BUHAC, Villan Valley, and Livingston, able to walk through classrooms, visit with teachers. Seemed to be like a very good start of the year for everyone. I was able to go into a few of the CTE classrooms. I did get an opportunity to see the health worker classroom at BUHAC. Also, I was able to see Nick Westerberg's Culinary Arts Kitchen, and it looks really nice, so I can't wait to see the Merced one. Thank you very much for allowing me a few moments today at the beginning of the meeting. That's it. Thank you.
Mr. Valadez?
All right, thanks to everyone as always for staying until the end, especially those that didn't have to, and you have to come back tomorrow to work. Also, thank you to the Drum family, mom and dad. It's our job as parents to advocate for our children, so thank you for coming to do that and for staying till the end as well. Mr. Haven, thank you as well for coming to all these board meetings and advocating for your department. Pretty short. So the next thing is thanks to Golden Valley High School and the principal for the goodies they gave us. I haven't seen what they are, but I'll check them out. Thank you all.
Mrs. Pickle?
Thank you, Ms. Sam. I wanted to thank the students that presented, as well as their advisors. I thought they did a fantastic job. Thank you to Jeanette also for the CTE presentation. I really enjoyed the overview, thought it was very thorough, painted a very nice picture of where we've been, where we are, where we're going, and she's very well versed in it. I think she spoke to it very, very well. And thank you to Melissa. I don't know if she is still here or not, but thank you for your work on the facilities. I know that she's juggling, has a lot of balls in the air, a lot of plates spinning, and it's very stressful, but I think we all do appreciate what she's done and trying to keep these projects on track. I did attend AHS and BCHS back-to-school nights. Those are always very enjoyable, you know, seeing the staff, parents, students, and I think I'm going to try to schedule a visitation of the culinary arts and the other facilities projects. I'd really like to check those out. And I thought what Mr. Peterson mentioned earlier was very right on target, and so I would just like to echo that sentiment as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Vice President Jayasinga.
Thank you, President Pam. I was at the Merced Historical Society event last night. I was actually very proud of our Golden Valley FFA students for the great work they did. They were very efficient and kept everything moving. And I was very happy to see their presentation today. Attended the back-to-school nights, so it was good to see the parents and students and teachers and staff back in gear. And ditto to with everything that Trustee Pickle said. Great presentations and information tonight. So thank you to all the heavy lifting that's done behind the scenes. That's all. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you all. I think there's no denying we had a rough start to the school year this year.
Can I add one more thing before you
Go
do it? Also, I forgot to thank I didn't want to do it here because it's Golden Valley, but Livingston FFA, we had over 50 students help us out in a community event that we did, which was Autism Day Picnic for families that have kids with autism. So we had over 50 FFA students help us out, which was great. there was tremendous effort on their behalf with dealing with these types of families, and they did a great job.
We had a rough start to the school year, there's no denying it, and I appreciate the steady leadership in Superintendent Peterson and his cabinet and Mr. Nicholson as well. I mean, appreciate Mr. Johnson stepping up and being a tremendous leader as well. And, you know, it's a collaborative effort, and a lot of things have been said. So, you know, just thank you all for your constant steadiness, rational thinking. And now I think we really get to focus back on students, and the presentations tonight help us get there. Macy, I think you should tell Mr. Kane that you get extra credit for not only presenting to the board, but also staying for the entirety of the meeting. Do you have Mr. Kane for government? Oh, okay. All right. Well, I don't know. It's worth an ask, right? We don't see very many students voluntarily come and hang out for the evening, so thank you. Thank you for being brave and sharing your remarks. And with that, we will adjourn the meeting at 8 o'clock.